everyone, it's Carter. How are you today? Doing great, I hope. We are back for another beautiful, poorly lit whiteboard session. Amazing. Now today what I want to talk about is two different ways to approach business. And I think that these represent the two extremes that, especially out here in Silicon Valley, this is what I see all the time. But I think it's also very applicable to the app business, and I want to explain why. Now, the two models that I want to talk about are the venture capital model of building businesses and then the slight edge model, which is kind of like the Berkshire Hathaway model or small gains compounding over time versus the venture capital model, which is get a big, huge home run. I want to talk about those two models in relation to what each of you are doing every single day. Okay, so first let me explain what they are and how they work. All right, so the first venture capital model is built on having, these are all investments, right? Or they're projects, or they're things that you put your money or your time or your effort into. And there's lots of them, right? There's any venture capitalist will tell you that you gotta have a ton of investments. Because what happens is that one of these goes massive, right? It goes huge. It's the worst massive graph ever. But and this doesn't even do it justice. This is like 100x, right? And this big win makes up for all of these investments by a long shot. So that your return on your investment is huge. So that's why whenever you talk to a venture capital firm or you see an investor who's in the venture capital world, this is what they do. They get as many deals, which they call deal flow, that's what they call it. They get as many deals as they can, they make their best bet, and then they put their money into as many different companies and founders as possible in hopes that one goes really, really big. Now on the flip side, you get someone like Warren Buffett or Jeff Olson, who wrote The Slight Edge, and they talk about a much different strategy. They talk about how you start here with a little project, and then that project leads to this, which leads to this, which leads to this, and you grow it over time. And it's all about lowering your risk, and it's all about doing small actions that add up to having a huge win at the end. And then all of this, your wealth kind of goes like that, right? Because every step of the way you're making a little bit more money, versus here, your wealth or your success kind of does this, right? And they both could potentially, over a 30-year window, they could add up, they could be at the same number, but it's just two very different ways to build your wealth, okay? Now the reason this is really important for the app business is that we all started with this, where products, apps, we would put them into the app store and we wouldn't really look at the budget because we knew that when we hit one that was big, it made up for all of these. If you look back and you ask anybody who's been successful in the app store from the years of 2009 to 2014, this is really what happened. They can look back at the hundreds, if not thousands of apps that they've produced and point to 1 to 5 apps that made them 70 to 80% of their money. This is just true. No matter, even if you reskinned 1,000 casino games, you always look back and say, yeah, there's only a few that really crushed it for me. Everything else was kind of a wash, or didn't really do a whole lot. But a couple of these apps just smashed it, and that is true. This is how most people ran their businesses. This was very unsexy because it's required strategy, required updates. You couldn't build a million products. You built a few products and just made them better and better and better. But what you realize is that this is what all the top apps do, and that's why they've been around for multiple years and they continue to be at the top, right? Because they slowly just grow it and grow it and grow it. So the reason why this is really important is because we are, as the entire app business is moving to this strategy, this idea of producing a lot of assets that you hope one of them goes big, it doesn't work nearly as well as it used to, because this requires like something other than the App Store, right? You need to hit some massive viral trend, or you need to hit some, get some huge celebrity to tweet about you, or you partner with them or whatever. And the other piece is that the economics, I won't get into the actual way the markets work, the economics of this big boost are way more fleeting, right? Back in the day, this big boost would get you these numbers that would last for a couple of months, and that long tail of the boost, of the retention that you'd get, even on a crappy app, would really make up for it. Now, you might get that boost, but it doesn't last really long. Like, people are more likely to delete their app if it's not a quality product. And so as you are building your apps, or as you're creating apps, especially if you're getting into the app business now, realize that just putting apps in the App Store, it's not the venture capital model it used to be. You're not going to have, even if you have one that goes big, it's very difficult to make up for all these wasted investments. Versus if you take an app, or if you take your education and you build a few and you slowly grow it, you will have a much more successful business over the long term, because this is what happens in virtually every other business like market. When there's a lot of people, when there's a lot of information, it just becomes a more well-defined market. Now, the final key of this is that what you should look at, and why you should still build apps, and maybe still build 5, 10, 15 apps if you're getting started, is that the education that you get by doing this is huge. You can learn more by doing this than you'll ever learn by reading 55,000 blog posts and taking courses and doing all that. Just getting in the game is huge. But realize that you need to, every time you build a new app, you should be learning something. You should say, okay, I reskinned the tap to shoot game. What did I learn about this? What can I do differently with the next project or with the next update? How do I get a little bit better? How do I advance myself? How do I get smarter? All that, so that you are slowly growing your business, your education, your community, your network, everything. Over the long term, this becomes a much, much more successful model. Right? That's why you don't talk about the greatest investors of all time as people that necessarily hit it big. You get some venture capitalists out in Silicon Valley who've done really, really well. But for the most part, the guys you read books about are the ones that do this. The people who run successful businesses, this is how they think, this is how they run. You just get smarter slowly over the long term. You improve everything about your app, your business, your product, and you just do marginal, slow growth over the long term. And it still adds up to the top number. It's just that there's zero risk, or there's much lower risk, right? The risk profile of this is so much lower, it just takes more time. So as Gary Vaynerchuk always says, lack of patience is what kills entrepreneurs more than anything else. And I think this is why we are used to this explosive venture capital model, when in reality, this is how you get rich. This is how you make money. This is how the app business really works. That's not any business works. So just stick to it. Keep having those small wins consistently. Surround yourself with amazing people. And over the long term, you will hit your goals. And in fact, you'll hit bigger goals than you'll ever hit by doing this model in the app business. Okay? I hope that was helpful. Carter Thomas, Bluecloud. I'll catch you guys later.